Okay, good morning, everyone. In the last lecture, we have seen the operation of single phase full wave or full bridge voltage source inverter. Single phase full bridge voltage source inverter. So, sorry, the diagram for that in the given figure, this notation of battery is something wrong. Okay, so this battery positive terminal, negative terminal. Okay, there are total four switches are used: S1, S2, S3, and S4. Okay, so one more important thing that the switch from the same leg should not be turned on at the same time. Okay, it means S1 and S4 should not turn on at the same time. Similarly, S3 and S2 should not turn on same time. Okay, this is a one leg, this is another leg, right? There are two legs of this inverter. So when S1 is on from one leg, that time S4 should be turned off. At the same time, S2 should be on, S3 must be turned off. Okay, so one from upper part and one from lower part, but not from the same leg. And already we have discussed in the last lecture, but I'll again repeat till the students join the meeting. So S1 and S2 turns on at a time, and S3 and S4 turns on at a time, right? Now D1, D2, D3, D4 are not used in a inverter circuit with a resistive load. They are just connected here. But if your load is inductive, then there will be a use of these diode. Otherwise, not necessary to connect the diodes even in a circuit. Okay. So working already we have explained in the last lecture when S1 is on and S2 is on, because the triggering circuit used to turn on S1, S2 should be same, so that when S1 on at the same time S2 should be turns on. Okay, so your current start to flow from EDC plus, then S1, then terminal P, then load, then terminal Q, then S2, then back to the negative terminal of battery. So this time you will get a positive EDC. Your current is also positive. Okay, current flows from P to Q. So direction is P to Q. So your current is positive, voltage is positive. This is IS, IS1 and IS2. The current or gate voltage for switch S1 and S2. That time the gate voltage to the S3, S4 is 0. Okay, you can see here when S1, S2 is on, that time the gate voltage to the S3, S4 is 0, right? Here S3 and S4 is on, that time the gate voltage to the S1, S2 is 0. Okay, so this is the first case. Now in second case, when S3 and S4 is on. Okay, so S3 and S4 is on. Now current start to flow from EDC, then S3, then load, that is Q, load P, then S4, and back to the supply. You can check here the current direction is reverse, right? So voltage all of across this load is also negative. So you will get a negative EDC as output voltage, and current is minus EDC by R. So this is the working for single phase full bridge inverter, or you can say full bridge voltage source inverter. Already we have discussed about this. These are the two diagrams during mode 1 during S1, S2 on, and mode 2 during S3 and S4 on. Okay, so when S1, S2 on, that time the output voltage is ADC, and when S3, S4 on, that time output voltage equal to minus ADC. So these are the two operating modes for operation of single phase full bridge inverter with resistive load. Okay, then these are the equations that is very similar to the single phase half a bridge inverter, just ADC by to replace with ADC. So remaining is in front of you. So this is the working of single phase full bridge inverter. Okay. Now next part is operation with RL load. Now this is your RL load. Now diode D1, D2, D3, D4s are very, very important. Otherwise, your load current becomes negative. Sorry, discontinuous. The load current becomes a discontinuous, right? How it discontinuous, you can check here. The diode D1, D3, D4, D1, D2, D3, D4. Out of these four diodes, two diodes on at a time, right? So if the diodes are absent, then definitely the current through the load is equal to zero. So diode must be connect to the circuit for inductive load. Okay. Now there are total four operating modes for this circuit. So we'll see that four operating modes. First, I'll just change the battery notation. It's a positive. Okay. So positive ADC, right? Now we can just check the working, which is very similar. Okay. We'll just manage the diagram on a single slide. Okay. So again, same thing. First mode we can consider when S1 and S2 is on. So S1 and S2 is on. Dear students, unmute yourself. All are, because some disturbances may create. Okay, so S1 and S2 is on. So the operation is normal ADC. Then S1, then P, inductive load Q, S2, back to the negative supply. But this time, when current flows from P to Q, so inductive load store the energy in its magnetic field, right? So that stored energy is plus here and minus here, right? So energy stored across inductor having polarity plus P with respect to Q. So this is the operation of first mode. When S1 is on, S2 is on, current flow through this, and inductor, that is inductive load, store the energy in its magnetic field, right? Now, when S1, S2 turns off, when you turns off S1 and S2, then what happens? The polarity of stored charge immediately reverse, right? Gets it changed polarity. As soon as you turns off S1 and S2, the polarity of a stored charge across inductor get reversed, right? Now, because of this, what happens? Diode, you can check here, diode D3 is forward bias and diode D4 is also forward bias, right? Diode D3 and D4 is forward bias because of this inductive energy. So current start to flow from load to Q, then D3, then back to the supply. Okay, then D4 and then back to the load, right? So D3 and D4 on, when S1, S2 off, the inductor start to release the energy, right? When S1 and S2 is on, that time we can consider here at T1, T1 to T2, when S1 and S2 is on, then your voltage is positive and current is also positive. Current is positive, which is increasing because inductors start to store the energy. At this point, when S1, S2 turns off, at time T2, we turns off S1 and S2. Okay. So at instant T2, what happens? The diode D3 and D4 turns on and current start to flow from load to Q point, then D3, then back to the supply ADC, and then D4, then P and negative of a load, right? So this time inductor release the energy to the input source, right? So current decreasing, still it's positive, but decreasing. You can check here this point. Okay, current decreasing, but still it is positive because the current flows in the same direction, that is from P to Q. Okay, this time also current flows from P to Q, or you can say Q, then P back to the Q, then P back to the Q, and so on. Okay, so current still positive but decreasing. At instant T3, your current becomes a zero because the inductive energy, whatever inductor store the energy, the total energy released by the inductor through the supply voltage called VDC. Okay, so at this instant T3, the S3 and S4 turns on. S3 and S4 turns on. Okay, so if S3 S4 turns on, then current start to flow from EDC, S3, then Q, then P, then S4, and then back to the negative. Okay, this time the current is negative. The direction of current is Q to P. Okay, and energy stored by the inductive load is plus Q with respect to P. Right, current flowing entering into the load from Q side and leaving from P side. So Q is positive with respect to P. When current flows from Q to P, then inductor store the energy in its magnetic field. The polarity of that stored charge Q is positive with respect to P. Okay, when S3 and S4 is on, current start to flow from EDC to S3 to Q, then load, RL load, then P, then S4 back to the negative of EDC. This time the current direction is from Q to P, that is a negative, and the voltage stored across the inductor having polarity Q positive with respect to P. Okay, so this is from T3 to up to T4. Okay, so current increases, and at this instant you can see here the output voltage is negative, right? So at this instant S3 and S4 turns off. Okay, S3 and S4 turns off. Now what happens if S3 S4 turns off? Then these are the initial polarity of a stored charge, that is Q positive with respect to P. But as soon as S3 and S4 turns off, then immediately the polarity of this stored charge get reversed. So P positive with respect to Q, right? P becomes positive with respect to Q. If P positive, then D1 is forward bias and D2 is also forward bias because Q is negative, so D2 is forward bias, and P is positive, so D1 is also forward bias. So this stored charge across inductor start to release the energy from this plus D1, then battery positive, battery negative, then go to the D2, then Q, and then negative of load, right? This is the direction of current. Current is still negative, but this time inductor start to release the energy through the supply voltage EDC, right? So current is still negative, but it's decreasing, and at instant T4, actually it's a T5, the current becomes zero. At the same instant, what happens? The polarity across the load voltage is P positive with respect to Q, so output voltage becomes positive. See in this particular diagram, when P is positive with respect to Q, then output voltage is positive. If P is negative with respect to Q, the output voltage is negative. Okay, so output voltage becomes positive and it remains positive till the S1 S2 turns off. Okay, so this is the working of this particular circuit for inductive load. This is IS1 IS2, the current for S1 S2, current for S2 S3, sorry S3 S4. These are the voltage across diode, and This is supply current actually. Okay. So these are the output waveforms for this circuit with inductive load. Okay. So anyone, if you are having any doubt in this particular circuit, you can ask me. Okay. So there are total 4 modes of operation. You can check here. Okay. In this first circuit, in the first circuit, S1 and S2 is on. So current flows from EDC, then S1, P, load, Q, S2, and back to the EDC. Right? This time P is positive with respect to Q, so your output voltage is positive. Current direction from P to Q, so you can say output current is also positive. So in first case, your output voltage and current both are positive. Okay. In a second case, when S1, S2 turns off, then whatever energy stored across the inductor, it is initially P positive and Q negative, but as soon as you turns off S1 and S2, then P becomes negative and Q becomes positive. So Q is positive, P is negative. It means that your output voltage is negative. Then inductors start to release the energy through D3, then EDC plus, EDC minus, then D4 and back to the P. You can check here the current direction is same, right? Current direction is same, but voltage is negative, right? Voltage is negative, current direction is same. So voltage negative and current is positive but decreasing current. Okay, in a second case, that is mode 2. Then in mode 3 or case 3, when S3 and S4 turns on, then current start to flow from ADC plus, S3, Q, load, then P, S4 back to the negative of ADC. This time the current direction is reverse, so current is negative, right? Now current flows from Q to P, so Q is positive with respect to P. Q is positive with P, it means output voltage is still negative. Because P is negative, it means output voltage is still negative, right? So inductor start to store the energy in its magnetic field. At instant T4, this S3 and S4 turns off. As soon as S3 and S4 turns off, the stored charge across inductor, the polarity of this stored charge across inductor get reversed. Now P become positive with respect to Q. If P is positive, the output voltage is positive, right? And current is still negative because current flowing from load to supply voltage, so it is still negative. So current flows from load to diode D1 or P, you can say load, then P, then diode D1, EDC positive, EDC negative, back to the D2, then Q, and then minus of inductive energy. This time the voltage is positive because P is positive with respect to Q, but the current is still negative, right? So in first case, the voltage and current both are positive, and in third case, current and voltage both are negative, right? In second case, the current is still positive but voltage negative, and in last case, voltage positive but current is negative. So these are the 4 operating modes of this single phase full bridge voltage source inverter with inductive load, right? These are the operating modes, total 4 operating modes. So mode 1, mode 2, mode 3 and mode 4. All 4 modes are explained here in a proper way so that you can understand when you read this theoretical part. So I'll not read this theoretical part here, but when I share the PPTs with you, so you can read it. So you will easily understand the working of this circuit. Okay, but still at this instant, if anyone having any doubt regarding the working of single phase full bridge voltage source inverter, so you can ask me. The equations are very same for the inductive load as well as for the resistive load. Nothing will be changed. So is there any doubt in the working of this particular circuit, that is single phase full bridge inverter with inductive load? Anyone, if are having any doubt, you can ask me. Anyone having any doubt? If no, then we will go for the next. Okay, because the working of inductive load somewhat different than resistive load, because inductor stored the energy in its magnetic field, uh, so it releases the energy whenever the switches turns off. You can check here from T1 to T2, S1 S2 on, right, and during T2 to T3, S1 S2 off, S3 S4 is still off, right? S3 S4 is all four switches are off during T2 to T3. During T2 to T3, all switches are off, only diode D3 and D4 on because of inductor energy. If you are not connecting these D4 and D3, then your load current becomes discontinuous, because no current will flow through the circuit during T2 to T3, right? At T3, S3, S4 on, so current is negative, voltage is also negative, right? Then up to the maximum, it stores the energy in its magnetic field. At instant T4, the S3, S4 is also off. S1, S2 is already off, right? All four switches are again off. Now, inductors start to release the energy through D1 and D2, right? So during T3 to T4, D1, D2 on. During T2 to T3, T3, D4 on, right? So this is the load voltage, and it's a load current waveform. Okay, this is load current waveform, triangular type. You can see here, triangular waveform you can see. So from 0 to T1, from 0 to T1, D3 and sorry D1, D2 on. Then from T1 to T2, S1, S2 on. From T to T3, S3, S4 on. Sorry, D3, D4, D3, D4 on. T2, T3 to T4, S3, S4 on. Then T4 to T5, D1, D2 on. Then again T5 to T6, S1, S2 on, and so on. So output voltage is a square wave and output current is a triangular wave. Okay. So this is the working of single phase full bridge inverter for RL load. Now anyone, if suppose having any doubt, you can ask me. Otherwise, we will continue for the next. Okay. So I think no doubt. So next one is the performance parameters of inverter. You can check the syllabus that is given at the initial state. So next part is the performance parameters, right? Performance parameters of inverter. Now, what are the parameters which may affect the performance of inverter, that we have to learn here? So these are the theoretical terms, but still we have to learn it. So ideally an inverter should give a sinusoidal voltage at its output. However, the output of practical inverter are non-sinusoidal and may be resolved into fundamental and harmonic components. Just a minute. Okay. So, however, output of practical inverter, as already I have told you, the inverters are normally practical inverters are normally a square wave or a quasi square wave inverters, right? Theoretically, we can say the output of inverter must be sine wave, but practically it is not possible, right? So output of practical, or however, output of practical inverters are sinusoidal, non-sinusoidal, sorry, and may be resolved, may be divided into two parts. One is called fundamental, another is called as harmonic components. Harmonic components basically are unwanted components. They are having multiple frequency of a fundamental frequency, so they creates maybe a heat, and that is disadvantage. So performance of an inverter is usually evaluated in terms of following parameters. First one is harmonic factor. Okay, harmonic factor. The harmonic factor is a measure of individual harmonic contribution in the output voltage of inverter. So third harmonic, fifth harmonic, seventh harmonic, 11th harmonic, ninth harmonic, and so on. So whatever these individual harmonics, so effect of these individual harmonics, the amplitude and frequency, that may affects the performance of inverter, and that is measured in terms of harmonic factor. So it is defined as the ratio of RMS voltage of a particular harmonic component to the RMS value of fundamental component. So this is the RMS value of that particular harmonic component. Say it's a ninth harmonic component. Okay. So RMS value or voltage of this ninth harmonic divided by the output voltage or RMS voltage of fundamental component. So harmonic factor of nth harmonic is given as En of RMS by E1 of RMS. En, the value of that particular harmonic component. The voltage, actually it's a voltage level of that nth harmonic component with respect to the amplitude of fundamental component. RMS value of fundamental components. This is called harmonic factors of nth harmonic. Then total harmonic distortion. Total harmonic distortion. So a total harmonic distortion is a measure of closeness in a shape between output voltage waveform and its fundamental component. See, the output voltage is of 1 kilohertz, for example. So 1 kilohertz frequency of fundamental component, right? 1 kilohertz is a frequency of fundamental components. A total harmonic distortion is a measure of closeness in a shape between output voltage waveform and its fundamental component. It is defined as the ratio of RMS value of its total harmonic component of output voltage and the RMS value of fundamental components. So basically, total harmonic distortion, it means that the RMS value of third harmonic, the RMS value of fifth harmonic, plus the RMS value of seventh harmonic, plus RMS value of ninth harmonic, plus RMS value of 11th harmonic, plus dash divided by the fundamental RMS value of fundamental component, right? So normally the amplitude of all the harmonic components is equal to the fundamental components. So maximum harmonic distortion, it will be 1 fundamental components, that is mathematically shown here, EORMS minus E1 fundamental component divided by fundamental component. So this is output voltage, this is the first harmonic component divided by the amplitude of fundamental components. Next one is distortion factor, another factor which affects the performance of inverter. Okay, so a distortion factor indicates the amount of harmonics that remains in the output voltage waveform after the waveform has been subjected to the second order attenuation. Basically, distortion factor is defined as that is total basically after applying some attenuation, it means to attenuate the harmonic components, right? Still some distortion is present in the output of inverter, and that is the basically called distortion factor. So definition is given in by using one example, maybe equation. So in equation, under root of summation of n equal to 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to the infinite, En of RMS by n square whole square divided by E1 of RMS, that is fundamental component. So distortion factor indicate the amount of harmonics that remains in the output voltage after the waveform has been subjected to the second order attenuation. So attenuation is done so that the maximum harmonic components are attenuated, but still some distortion is present, and that is calculated with the help of this equation, which denotes the total distortion factor. Last, lowest order harmonics. This is basically lowest frequency harmonic with a magnitude greater than or equal to 3% of the magnitude of fundamental components. Right? See, the lowest frequency harmonic. If fundamental frequency component is 1 kilohertz, then lowest frequency harmonic component is 3 kilohertz, then 5 kilohertz, then 7 kilohertz, then 9 kilohertz, then 11 kilohertz, 13 kilohertz, 15 kilohertz, 17 kilohertz, and so on. These are the harmonics present in a square wave. So lowest frequency harmonic with a magnitude greater than or equal to 3% of a magnitude of fundamental component of output voltage is known as lowest order harmonic. The higher the frequency of lowest order harmonic. See, I have drawn one figure when I explain you the spectrum analyzer. So this is a spectrum analyzer view. This is the initial condition 0, right? This is a 1 kilohertz, for example. This is a 1 kilohertz fundamental component, right? Because on x-axis you will directly get a frequency on spectrum analyzer, right? So if you apply 1 kilohertz frequency, square wave frequency on spectrum analyzer, so it shows a straight line with the amplitude equal to the applied signal and frequency equal to 1 kilohertz. Then you will get a third harmonic, then you will get a fifth harmonic, then you will get a seventh harmonic, then you will get a ninth harmonic, then you will get a 11th harmonic, then you will get a 13, then 15, and so on. So this is called as the lowest order harmonic. Okay, this is called lowest order harmonic. This will be a 3 kilohertz frequency, then 5 kilohertz, then 7 kilohertz, 9, 11, 13, 15, and so on. Okay, so this is the lowest order harmonic. Okay, lowest order harmonics. Now, these are the 4 performance parameters: harmonic factor of nth harmonic, then total harmonic distortion, then distortion factor, this should be minimum, then lowest harmonic frequency component, and so on. So these are the 4 performance parameters which affect the working of or performance of the inverter. Okay. The next one is 3-phase inverter. Right. This is a diagram for 3-phase inverter. The supply is ADC. Switches are S1, S2, S3, S4, S5, and S6. Right. In this particular diagram, again, the switch S1, S4 never conduct at a time. Switch S3, S6 never conducts at a time. Then switch S5, S2 never conduct at a time. Right. So the upper arm, you can say this is called upper arm. Okay. So S1, S3, S5, lower arm S4, S6, S2. Okay. So upper arm, lower arm, there are total 3 SCRs or 3 switches. So 2 S switches from upper arm and 1 from lower arm, or 2 from lower arm, 1 from upper arm conducts at a time. So at a time, 3 switches conducts. At a time, 3 switches conducts, S1, S2, then S3 or S5, right? Or S1, S6, or any other switch. So the notations, the names given here must be similar. Otherwise, the working will become very difficult for you to explain, right? So again, D1, D2, D3, D4, D5, D6 are connected here. There is no use of these diodes for resistive load. With inductive load, these diodes are definitely required. But as per your syllabus, the inductive load is not a part of your syllabus. So you can check here. I'll just show you the syllabus. Three-phase voltage source inverter for balance star R load, only for R load, not for the L load, RL load. So only R load is a part of your syllabus. So we'll see just only R load, not for not go for inductive load. And this circuit also works in a two different types of modes. So this is basically a star connected R load. This is a delta connected R load. As per your syllabus, only star connected R load is given or mentioned, right? So we'll see only that one. So this is a three-phase star connected load. This is actually a load here. You can check phase A, phase B, phase C. These are the three phases output voltage, right? Three-phase load, input voltage EDC, total 6 switches, and this A, B, and C. A, B, and C. So this load is connected here actually, but not shown for simplicity. Now, three-phase inverter are used for high power applications such as AC motor drives, induction heating, uninterruptible power supplies. A three-phase inverter circuit changes DC input to the three-phase variable frequency. This is again most important. Variable frequency and even variable output voltage. Okay, so three-phase inverter circuit changes DC input voltage to the three-phase variable frequency, variable voltage, output voltage. Right? The input DC voltage can be from DC source or by a rectified AC voltage. A three-phase bridge inverter can be constructed by combining three single phase half bridge inverter. You can check here. This is the first half bridge, this is the second half bridge, and this is the third half bridge. So three half bridges are connected together. Figure shows in above slide the basic circuit of three-phase bridge inverter. Okay, dear student, last 1 minute is remaining. So you start to give your attendance in a chat box immediately, fast. Last 1 minute is remaining. We will see this three-phase inverter in a next lecture. Thank you. But give attendance immediately, fast.